I know it's hard, I know it's complicated, but I promised you've been waiting here forever. I had a much to say, but you're not here with me, no. We're invincible, like fire in the snow. Trust me when I say you are my beautiful world, and I'm feeling it all, we should make an effort. It's true you're so far away, and it's true you don't feel the same. But if you take my hand, we can try and go back, starting from scratch. I won't let you go, no I can't let you go, 'cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go, no baby I will not, because I still believe. You're my gravity. You will never be what I expected. Different frequencies, that's why we ain't connected. You know I will make it through, I got nothing to lose but you. It's true you're so far away, and it's true I can feel the same. It's another day, you know you want me to stay, but I go my way. I won't let you go, no I can't let you go, 'cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go, no baby I will not, because I still believe. You're my gravity. You're my gravity. You're calling out my name, but the echo numbs your pain. Sorry, but more than just a shadow, I'm more than just a man. You don't care how I feel, you don't know how I feel. No, you don't know how. I wash away the sorrow till my heart can beat again. You're my gravity. No, you're my gravity. I will let you go, the only thing that I know. You were my gravity, but now I have to leave. I will let you go. Why do you feel that I want? What do you think that I want? I know how to breathe into my gravity, into my gravity, into my gravity, into my gravity, into my gravity. I know it's hard, I know it's complicated, but I promised you've been waiting here forever. I had a much to say, but you're not here with me, no. We're invincible, like fire in the snow. Trust me when I say you are my beautiful world, and I'm feeling it all, we should make an effort. It's true you're so far away, and it's true you don't feel the same. But if you take my hand, we can try and go back, starting from scratch. I won't let you go, no I can't let you go, 'cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go, no baby I will not.
Warning. The Duracell Cup Series data file you have attempted to access is out of date. Uploading current file now.
It's a brand new car from stem to stern, and it's never been raced at these speeds.
The next gen car is opportunity.
Everything is different with the exception of like the seat, the steering wheel, and your helmet.
Unknown creates excitement.
Talking about my generation.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome here as we get set for the 9th race of the second season of the NNSCRA Duracell Ultra Lite Series here under the lights at the Texas Motor Speedway in preparation for this evening's Whataburger 120. 84 laps of racing here tonight. We finally have kind of gotten back to the normal mile-and-a-half racing. We had back-to-back short tracks at North Wilkesboro and Lucas Oil for these Duracell Ultra Lite Series drivers. And last week, of course, we were at the winding road course of Sonoma. Now these drivers kind of getting back to what they know, back to the higher speed racetracks here. This racetrack a little bit different with its configuration over in turns 1 and 2, but it is going to be higher speed racing than we've had in the past 3 weeks or so. It was an incredible qualifying effort for all the drivers out of Garage 55 here yesterday as Sean Galligan captures his first pole on the season, and his other 3 teammates qualified up inside of the top 10. Autumn Brooks right behind him in 3rd, Ralph Mason completing row 3 in 6th, and Carson Gum, who's making his first Duracell Ultra Lite Series start of his career here tonight at his home track, rolling off the grid from the 9th position. So the Mazdas looked really good in qualifying. Question is, can they translate that over here into the race? Was watching these drivers in qualifying, and there is opportunity for passing, but kind of think of this particular racetrack a little bit like a D-shaped mile-and-a-half super speedway. We're going to see them stacked up double wide all the way through the field, maybe even 3 wide on occasions. I think almost the entirety of this race, if we get into a round of green flag pit stops, it'll obviously split the field up, but I think we're going to see a lot of pack racing here tonight, just based off what I saw in qualifying. I expect the same thing, I think, for tomorrow night's Cup Series race. And speaking of Cup, how about some of the Cup regulars? They qualified really well here for this one as well. We mentioned about Carson Gump inside the top 10, but Reggie Fogelman making his 6th start on the season here in the Lite Series, Cup Series regular. He shares the outside of the front row with Sean Galligan. And Destin Bolin, his 2nd start of the season. We saw him have a great run last week in his debut at Sonoma, and he qualified on the outside of row number 2 for this evening's event. So the Cup drivers showing up here, trying to get more reps, more laps in preparation for tomorrow's Cup Series race. And hey, they're not running for points. They're just looking to get a checkered flag. And so far this season, we have been a perfect 8 for 8 in regular season Lite Series drivers going to victory lane. A Cup driver, a Cup interloper has yet to break into victory lane. Maybe tonight's the night, or maybe, just maybe, we end up having our 9th different race winner of a regular season Lite Series driver. Point stands look really interesting coming into this one. Obviously, with Roberto Crown Jr. taking the checkered flag last week, he's certainly looking like he's in line to lock himself into a playoff position. He was already running well in points, and then he picks up that victory at the road course. So we'll talk about the point stands coming into this one in just a few moments. But it's time to go down trackside and get ourselves ready for tonight's Whataburger 120 from Texas Motor Speedway. Let's get those most famous words in motorsports.
Gentlemen, start your engine!
I'm up in the center of 1 and 2 up here, so as you're going down the back stretch into 3, it may appear to me that they're inside, but they may be just shy of that. I'll really try to stay on top of that all night, buddy.
29 drivers taking the green flag here this evening at the Texas Motor Speedway. Right side of your screen, you see your starting lineup for this evening's event. Point stands didn't change a whole heck of a lot last week, at least up inside of the top 5. Cam Wright Jr. is still the points leader. David Dixon moved up a spot. He's 25 points out in second. Skylar Taylor, a Daytona winner, he is third in points, 30 points out. Roberto Crown Jr. with his win last week moves up to fourth in points, 32 points back. Kyle Langland was the biggest loser, and he didn't qualify all that well here this evening either. He dropped from second down to fifth in points, but he's still only 34 points out of the points lead. Jackson Haywood sits in 6th, Cody Majorek in 7th, Jordan Anderson cracks the top 10, he's up to 8th, Chris Dollerton now up to 9th, and Eli Bright is the 10th position, 63 points separating the top 10 in overall standings. Right now, as far as the playoffs are concerned, wildcard spots belong to Cole Coybe, Aubrey Powell, Dave Smith, Michael Turner just on the outside looking in, 3 points outside of that third wildcard spot behind Dave Smith. So we'll keep tabs on all that during the course of the evening. But 84 laps here tonight, and Sean Galligan gets the Whataburger 120 under the green. Teammates 1-2 down the back straightaway as Autumn Brooks will slot into the second position. Toyota's Colin Grace and Reggie Fogelman will battle for third. Give the spot to Grace off of turn number 4. Galligan will lead the first lap. And now Autumn Brooks will cross to the inside, looking for her first lap lead of the evening. Tucks right in front of the JBL.com Ford Dark Horse Mustang of Nathan Stapleton, and there's Carson Gum right there behind as well in the 55. Stapleton looking to the bottom here on Brooks, but Brooks will get the bonus point for the lap lead. Now Stapleton will look to go to the point. It'll be our third lead change in the first 3 laps. So looks like the race lead might not be all that easy to hold on to here in this one. About 4 rows double wide up here inside of the top 10. Then a little string of 3 cars single file. And then just outside the top 10 back to double wide. That's points to Cam Wright Jr. back there. Side by side with Wes McCoy. That's around the 12th position. As Stapleton gets the lap led. But Brooks, who was second on the outside line, gets down right in front of her teammate Carson Gum. And she will look to go back to the front once again. You saw right there already them going into turn 1, having to really back it down. They're only down to about 173, 174 here through 3 and 4. I'll double check and see just how much speed they have to lose down here into turns 1 and 2. Out of the throttle and down to almost, well, about 156 right there for Autumn Brooks on the extreme inside line. That is a lot of speed scrubbing off right there. And of course, Texas Motor Speedway having that configuration. They have different banking over in 1 and 2 than they have here in 3 and 4. 3 and 4, obviously, the much faster set of corners. But I believe over in 1 and 2 is where we're going to see a lot more of our passing here tonight as well. It's all about execution and getting it woed down enough so that way the car doesn't get really tight on you, that right front slide up the racetrack, and you lose all of your momentum. Great battle up here at the front, though. Nathan Stapleton, Autumn Brooks, neither one wanting to give up the top position. Brooks now looks like she will actually clear through the faster 3 and 4. And Carson Gum right behind in the second position, offering the drafting help. Then right behind him is the 66 of Ralph Mason. So all of the Garage 55 Mazdas, who had, as I mentioned, good qualifying efforts, having good runs here tonight as well. And Carson Gum now will go to the point. Of course, we didn't get the opportunity to be able to run Circuit of the Americas last weekend. We had the whole technical snafu as Autumn Brooks gets shuffled way up there to the top side in a 3-wide battle now. Might be able to tuck in front of Sean Galligan, which she will do right behind Nathan Stapleton. But for both Carson Gum and Chris Dollerton. Both of them were hoping as Texas natives to be able to do the double here this week. We ended up obviously seeing Carson Gum get put into the number 55 here in the Lite Series race, and Chris Dollerton, unfortunately, we ended up seeing him. I believe he failed to qualify. There's a couple of days separation from recording this race to Cup qualifying session, and I'm trying to remember if Dollerton qualified or not. I don't recall who the two drivers were that qualified for the Cup race. I apologize for that. 3 wide back here. Was 3 wide. Carson Gum was up on that top side with Autumn Brooks in the middle and Juan Garcia making his way up on the inside. So we talk about the Mazdas. How about the Toyotas starting to work their way up? Garcia in the 19, right behind him, Nathan Fogler. Man, I mean, let's talk about last week at Nathan Fogler. I mean, he was looking like he was going to have a top 5 run. Came down pit road and green flag pit stop, overshot his pit stall, and ended up finishing way down in the running order. I mean, a promising run just gone completely sour on a pit road mistake. And there are a couple of drivers coming into this one that really have not gotten the season off to a good start, and it's a limited schedule for the Lights drivers as opposed to the Cup drivers. Cup drivers are running a full 36 races. The Lights drivers are only running 25 races this season. So that's 11 weeks they're missing out on. The mistakes that they make here in the early portion of the season can really come back to haunt them later on in the season, especially if they're trying to battle for a playoff position. And you've got drivers right now like Mike Tellier, Wes McCoy, Sean Galligan, Brody Kupski, Nathan Fogler, who are down there near the bottom of the point standings. They need to get something going now. I'm not saying they necessarily have to win, but they've got to find a consistent streak. They've got to get good finishes back-to-back weeks and start climbing their way up through the point standings. Eventually, it may get to a point where they will have to go to victory lane. They may not be able to accumulate enough points to get up in the top 7, so they'd have to rely on a win to get a wild card spot. But it's not panic time just yet. But the upward consistent trend has to begin now. That's 3 wide again back here. Juan Garcia got shuffled out. David Dixon charging up the inside line. Speaking of drivers and starts to the season, it's been an incredible start to the year for both the entries out of Southern Cross Racing. David Dixon going to victory lane at Pocono. Cam Wright Jr. follows it up 1 week later at North Wilkesboro for his first career win. They come into this race top 2 in the point standings. Cam over David. Right now, David Dixon cracking the top 5 as he moved up into that 5th position right behind Nathan Fogler. Last time by, Cam Wright Jr. was scored in 15th, kind of mired in the mid-pack. Field's starting to spread out a little bit here up at the front. Still have some double-wide racing, but it's not all stacked up in rows, and I'm wondering if maybe some tire wear is starting to come into play in that regard. Drivers having to give a little bit of extra space, getting really tight here through the center of 1 and 2 as Cody Majorek way up the racetrack there. He's going to get put 3 wide with Carson Gum and Dave Smith. Dave, of course, going coast to coast at Lucas Oil Raceway, picking up his first career victory. Moved into a wild card spot. And he's actually been on an upward trend since then as well. Had a decent run last week at Sonoma. Moved up 3 spots in the standings to 15th in overall points. But as mentioned, he's only 3 points to the good over Michael Turner for the final wild card spot. Turner did not have a good qualifying effort, and he is right now back in the 23rd position trying to make forward progress. Nathan Stapleton, though, looking really good in that 97 after getting out in clean air. He's not really been challenged for the top position. Autumn Brooks gave him a couple of looks there, but Stapleton, for the time being, making sure that he blocks both lanes if they get momentum on the straightaway. Goes right down to that white line through 1 and 2. I mean, look at the run. Look at the gap he's able to get right there. Autumn Brooks was able to use the outside line through 1 and 2 to clear Nathan Fogler, and now she's looking low here into 3 and 4. Keep that in mind the longer this run goes on. That second lane starting to rubber in over in 1 and 2 and maybe a viable option for passes. But so far, Nathan Stapleton just leading his 6th lap of the night. Ralph Mason's also led 6, 3 for Autumn Brooks, 1 for Carson Gum, 1 for Sean Galligan, so been a bit democratic up here in who's led laps, and so far all 4 of the Garage 55 cars have been out in front for a lap. 5th place battle, Dave Smith against Jackson Haywood. Jackson right now in a playoff position via points, 6th in overall standings. And he's done all that despite only finishing in the top 5 one time, and only finishing in the top 10 one time. I mentioned this in the Cup Series, but it is true in the Lite Series as well. You do not have to consistently finish in the top 10 week after week after week to be able to be playoff eligible as far as pointing your way in. You can finish every week through 11th to 15th and still have a shot at it. When we talk about consistency, we don't mean you have to always be finishing up at the front. You can finish just outside of the top 10, and consistent 12th place finishes will always garner you more points than 1 win and 2 DNFs. Jackson trying to hold on to a spot inside of the top 7. Of course, the playoff system this year implemented for the first time this season as well. We didn't have playoffs last season, but top 7 in points, regardless of if they've won or not, will be in the postseason, and then 3 drivers will get in that are outside the top 7 but have a win. They would get 3 available wildcard spots. I just actually noticed the other driver that's up there in the latter portion of the top 7 in the standings, Cody Majoric, having a good run. He's just made his way up into the top 10, right behind Ralph Mason. Last time I scored in 9th. We talked in the Cup Series about the really good start to the year for, it seems, all 3 of the Joanna Atwood Motorsports cars on the Cup side. How about on the Lite side? Majoric, 6th or 7th in points. Jordan Anderson just last week moved up into the top 10 in the standings, up to 8th. So the 70 and the 89 out of Joanna Atwood Motorsports having really, really good starts to the year here in the Lite Series. Had a few drivers actually pop up into the top 10 in the point standings after Sonoma last week. Jordan Anderson was 1. Chris Dollarton moved up 2 spots from 11th to 9th, and Eli Bright after starting on the pole in that Sonoma race. And maybe with a pit road miscue kind of taking himself out of contention of his first win of the season, still had a good run with a top 10, and he moved up 6 spots in the standings from 16th to 10th position. So that shows you that point standings are still really, really close. Maybe not necessarily up near the top of the point standings, but around the midway portion of the point standings, it is still very, very close. Still a lot of opportunity with a solid run, podium finish, a win to move up many, many positions in the standings. Been having some fun watching Autumn Brooks here through 1 and 2. Got kicked out to the outside line again there, but you saw her pick up a spot earlier on around the outside through 1 and 2, and she was able to kind of hold side by side with Cody Majoric at the time for 4th place there through 1 and 2 as well. Now Juan Garcia to her inside for position. How about Aubrey Powell? I don't know how it's easy to miss a bright green Interstate Batteries car in the field, but she kind of snuck her way up there into the 4th position. Great run there for the Phoenix race winner. Aubrey coming into this one 2nd in points, or 2nd wildcard spot, I should say. 13th in overall standings. And right now in a side-by-side battle with Juan Garcia, who appears to be moving forward. And how about this? Battle for the lead. We were just talking moments ago about Cody Majoric. And Majoric is now going to go for the top position, looking to be the first Chevrolet out in front here this evening. So far, the Mazdas and the Fords have been out in front. We've yet to have a Toyota lead this race, and we've yet to have a Chevrolet lead this race. And Chevy will lead now as Cody Majoric will go to the top position. Dixon will look to move into the second spot. Now, one thing that we mentioned at the top of the show was the fact that pit road will more than likely split these drivers up quite a bit. What we failed to mention was the fuel window for these drivers, and we're not necessarily certain what it is. Now, the target lap that these drivers would obviously be looking for would be somewhere around lap 42. That'd be halfway, and they would know then they can make it the rest of the way on just that one pit stop. But if we see drivers hit pit road prior to that, then I think it's safe to say it's going to be a two-stop race. There you saw that top line through 1 and 2. Majorek had the bottom. Stapleton went around the outside, and he easily cleared going back to the point. Let's drop back towards the rear of the field and see about some of our top drivers in the point standings where they're at. Cole Koibe comes into this race in the number 1 wild card spot, our winner from Manassas earlier on this season. He's mired back here at the rear of the field. Just ahead of him is last week's winner from Sonoma, Roberto Crown Jr., 4th in overall standings, and right now he's right behind Cat Batson, who had that top 5 run last week as well. We were just talking about Jackson Haywood, and he's faded back here into this group. He was up there inside of the top 5, and all of a sudden he's faded back to around the 24th spot. Chris Dollerton in the 40. 9th in points coming into this one. He's back here as well. And Kyle Langland en route for potentially back-to-back poor performances. Had the bad run last week due to a poor qualifying effort. Never was able to make his way forward at Sonoma. Dropped from 2nd to 5th in overall points, and right now back in the 22nd position. Cam Wright Jr. not faring much better. He's still mired back here in the 19th spot. He's yet to make any forward progress, and Sean Galligan, who started on the pole, he's now back here to the 18th spot. Pit road could come into play here. Looking at the tire fall off right now in terms of lap times, and everybody is running somewhere around 2 seconds slower than they ran at the beginning of this one. Last time by, your race leader Cody Majorek ran a 32.116. Fastest lap for him was a 30.300, so that's, what, 1.8 seconds difference right there in terms of fastest lap to current lap. So tire fall off is definitely a thing. I'm noticing as they go through 1 and 2, they're slowing a little bit more than they were in the early going. I mean, they were down to, what I think it was like 156 through the center of the corner in the beginning stages of this race. They're already down to like 146, 147 through the center of 1 and 2 now. So having to really back that corner up a ton to be able to then pick up the throttle off of turn 2. Yeah, down to about 155 here through 3 and 4, and they were down only to about, 170 something in the early going. So yeah, we're definitely seeing the speeds taper off as the tires wear down. David Dixon with a move there to the right side of Aubrey Powell. Taking the top line through 1 and 2. Not quite clear though. Powell's still going to be to the inside. Ralph Mason right behind. Ooh, and Powell with a slip up there. Now going to go 3 wide. Dixon has to move up the track, and it's because some drivers are coming to pit road. Oh, contact! Oh, Michael Turner into David Dixon as they were all trying to pit. Cody Majorek had some contact too. Is the caution going to come out for the 0-2 stop there? We're still green according to scoring. And Turner has to get the toe to pit lane. David Dixon's going to have a lot of damage there. I would be worried about Cody Majorek as well. We are still green. Can confirm no caution coming out from that. And the bad luck continues for the 0-2. Oh, and now we've got a wreck. That's Cam Wright Jr. and Kyle Langland getting together. Down the track they come. They might have gotten into Cap Bats. I think the caution's still not out. But that's your points leader with damage now. And Kyle Langland coming off the poor performance last week. We're still green. I don't know how that didn't bring out a caution, but it didn't. I guess they never went completely around. Aubrey Powell coming in now, along with Nathan Fogler and others. They're a little bit more spread out here, so not as much of a stack up coming to pit lane for these drivers, as Majorek is already down and away. So despite the contact that Majorek had there from Michael Turner and David Dixon. Doesn't look like they spent any time repairing damage. We'll see if Majorek cycles out to the race lead or not. And they've already taken the 0-2 of Michael Turner and pushed him behind the wall. Turner lost 7 spots in the standings last week after Sonoma dropped out of one of the wild card spots, a former winner from Las Vegas, and he will continue to free fall with the DNF here this evening. 29th is where he'll be scored. I'm shocked with the couple of incidents we had there on back-to-back laps that we didn't have a yellow. But we stay green, and this field is going to be very spread out now. There, I believe, is the pass for the lead. Majorek around Aubrey Powell. Now it's going to come down to who's got the strongest race cars. Draft will not come into play nearly as much as it did in the opening stages of this one. Also, bear in mind, looking around what lap these pit stops took place, it was before halfway. So we're going to more than likely have to have one more pit stop, and if my calculations are correct, they're going to be somewhere in the vicinity of 10 to 15 laps to go. So we've got a money stop that will be coming up before this race is concluded. So Majorek cycles to the lead. Ralph Mason's going to be second. Aubrey Powell, after leading a couple of laps there, is going to be in third. Fourth place, Mike Tellier, so he picked up a ton of spots on that green flag pit stop. And Juan Garcia will be fifth. Top 10 looks completely different now as Brody Kupski is now up to 6th. Autumn Brooks in 7th. Eli Bright looking for back-to-back top 10s. He's now in 8th with Nathan Fogler and Destin Bolin, your top 10. Another driver with an issue here during the cycle of pit stops, but it had nothing to do with the pit stops themselves. Mechanical failure sent the 97 of Nathan Stapleton to pit road. A driver that up to this point had led the most laps tonight with 17 circuits out in front. And he has gone back to the garage area. Mechanical failure, we're being told an engine failure for the 97. That is a tough break there for Stapleton. 14th in points coming to this one. Looked like one of the strongest cars in the field. And as we mentioned, up to this point, holds the bonus point for most laps led here tonight, as this is second place battle going on. Aubrey Powell on the inside of Ralph Mason. This taking place a little under 3 seconds behind Cody Majorek. We'll see if this pack of race cars working together might be able to get up there and get Cody Majorek reeled in for the top spot. As we watch this battle for second place, let's take a look at what's coming up around the turn, presented by NNSCRA Paint Designs. And of course, we got to cap off this race weekend tomorrow night with the Cup Series drivers at 7, the Buc-ee's 500 here at the Texas Motor Speedway. What I've been seeing here tonight, really looking forward to that one. Should be a bit of a wild card race, should be interesting. A lot of drivers that really need good runs in the point stands with good qualifying efforts. Of course, Jessica Shelton now a 2-time pole sitter. She'll be leading us to green tomorrow evening. And then next week, Lights drivers have a little bit of a break. That'll be just the Cup Series drivers there. Apparently our editing department, our graphics department, failing on that one. It will just be the Cup Series. They'll be qualifying on Saturday at 3, and only the Cup Series running the race on Sunday at 1. So, gonna have to yell at somebody in our graphical department there. No Lights racing next week, just the Cup drivers. Super Speedway racing at Coke Zero Super Speedway. That's what's coming up around the turn. Presented by NNSCRA Paint Designs, and David Dixon. Looks like whatever that damage was he sustained after he got hit from behind by Michael Turner, it has really affected his race car speed-wise. He's now going to fall another lap down. He already lost a couple of laps on pit road as they were doing damage repair. This, I think, will drop him to 3 laps down. And obviously, he is quite a bit off the pace to the rest of the race leaders. And Cody Majorek's almost 3-second gap is gone. Autumn Brooks has reeled him in. And she's brought from about 2nd back to 10th place along with her. Now looking to the inside of Cody Majorek for the top position. Eli Bright in the 3rd spot. How about Destin Bolin in his second light start of the season? Looking good in that 4th spot. Last week at Sonoma on the Cup side, we saw a number of drivers that were running really low in the point standings have good, solid top 5 runs. Daniel Boyles, of course, taking the win. Destin Bolin, a former winner at Pocono this season, who has to get back in the top 30 in points, finished in the runner-up spot. Anthony McCrory had a great run. Casey Hoyt had a great run up inside of the top 4. And despite the fact he finished runner-up, though, Destin Bolin is still outside the top 30 in standings. He's very close to getting back in the top 30, though. And so Bishop Family Racing putting him back in the 16 here tonight, hoping that that will translate to yet another good run when Destin pilots the 0-2 in the Cup race here tomorrow afternoon, or tomorrow evening, I should say. And he's giving it a good run. Well, Cam Wright Jr. is the next driver just up ahead of these leaders, so I hyped up the great start to the year for Southern Cross Racing, first and second in points, and wouldn't you know, they're the first 2 drivers really to run into trouble as far as crash damage. However, the good news for them is they are continuing to pick up spots as we have had another engine failure within the last 3 laps. Kat Batson has brought the Aussie Hair Products Dark Horse Mustang to pit road and to the garage area. So 2 drivers out due to mechanical failures here in just the last 10 laps. Nathan Stapleton and now Kat Batson. Might be a little concerning that both of them are Mustangs. I wonder if that might put a little bit of a doubt in the back of the mind of a couple of the more of the blue ovals out here before the conclusion of this race. That's a tough break for Kat, coming after a solid top 5 run last week at Sonoma. Kat Batson jumped up 3 spots in the point standings with that top 5 run, up to 19th in points coming into this one. But obviously, as consequence of the DNF, going to lose positionings in the stands. Only time will tell just how much ground she is going to lose. Mazda, Toyota, Ford up here at the front trying to lap a Chevrolet. Cam Wright Jr. is right now on the tail end of the lead lap. I said David Dixon lost a 3rd lap when they passed him. He actually is now only 2 laps down. Only lost 1 lap on pit road after the damage repair. And now his teammate Cam Wright Jr. will fall off the lead lap as well. Cam will drop to -1. So that opens up the door maybe for another driver to step up and take the points lead. But as of right now, I don't see anybody in the vicinity to be able to do so. Maybe the closest would be 3rd in points Skylar Taylor, but hold that thought. Caution is out for the first time here tonight. Now it looks like we had something happen on the front straightaway. That caution comes out just about 2 laps too late for Cam Wright Jr., as Autumn Brooks will lead us here under this yellow. And this is also interesting in the fact that now they can pit under caution. We're good to make it the rest of the way. We're in the fuel window where we can make it the rest of the way. We'll not have to come to pit road the rest of the night. And a couple of drivers in trouble here. That's Carson Gum out there on the right side of your screen, top side of 4. Jordan Anderson with a lot of damage. And, ooh, did maybe something happen with the lap car of David Dixon. Also damage on the back end of our pole sitter Sean Galligan, and same for Chris Dollerton. I believe those 2 were waiting for Carson Gum to come around and pick up his position, but bad night goes worse for the former winner this season at Pocono. 4-time Duracell Ultra Light Series race winner Cam Wright Jr. Let's follow the battle on pit road here, as this is your proverbial money stop of the night. Last time these drivers will have to pit. I was going to say, they're going to have to go for tires here. Nobody's just going to go with fuel-only. Tires are a premium with what we've seen in terms of lap times here on the long run. And these drivers will be looking up maybe around a 30-lap run to the finish. As it's going to be close off of pit road, and Nathan Fogler is actually going to get the spot. Brooks will come out second, followed by Garcia, Kupski, and Tellier. So Fogler looking for that redemption from Sonoma last week. Looks like he will be the race leader when we go back green. And let's go back and take a look at what brought out this caution. Saw a lot of skid marks there through the D-shaped front straightaway, but this might have happened as early as turn 4. Try and figure out who it starts with. Let's move up here around the Wes McCoy Carson Gum machines. Oh, someone's slow up ahead. That's Galligan with an issue. Oh, Galligan and Dollerton both. Did they get together? They were both slow there in turn 4. Let's follow that back again. I think they both just slowed down. Yeah, Dollerton's slow right there. Galligan is slow. Did we just have 2 drivers, one after the other, have mechanical problems? They couldn't have run out of fuel, otherwise they'd have dove onto pit road, but wow, David Dixon into the back of Dollerton. That is odd. That is really odd, because it almost happened simultaneously. I don't know if we go back a little further, if we can find... Okay, so that was not what actually brought out the caution. All right, so that's my fault. The 40 and the 62 that we saw right there were slowing down. The caution had already been out. They were slowing down for, I think, Carson Gum to come around and get his position. Now we're going to see what actually brought out the yellow. That is my mistake. I didn't go back farther enough in the replay. Here's what happened out of turn 4. Reggie Fogelman going to get into David Dixon, through the grass, back up the racetrack. He clicks Wes McCoy, Carson Gum, Jordan Anderson, and Sean Galligan. Dollerton actually got no contact out of that. He then got the contact later on when he was slowing down for Carson Gum to take his spot, and Carson got into the back of him. The reason there was the whole scoring snafu is take a look at where this wreck occurs just before the start-finish line. I think some drivers had taken the yellow, other drivers were racing back. Dixon sliding through the grass, back up into traffic, and well, that's a big hit there for Jordan Anderson head first into the outside safer barrier. About 6 drivers collected up in that one, as they were all trying to get around the slower machine of David Dixon. We showed you already the follow-up wreck under yellow, so we won't bother to go back and delve deeper into that one, as I believe we've got the lights out in the pace car and we're getting ready to go back green. So we will have lap machines as well. Jordan Anderson, they spent a little extra time on pit road to get that front-end damage repaired, but they have returned him back to the track 1 lap down. Cam Wright Jr. also 1 lap down in the 95. David Dixon has taken his car back behind the wall. Carson Gum, Wes McCoy, Chris Dollerton, and Sean Galligan, they are still in the tail end of the lead lap after damage repairs. So they will restart back between 20th to 23rd. Nathan Fogler, he's the first couple of laps he's led here tonight, and he will be getting us back under green with 31 laps to go. Autumn Brooks lines up second. Juan Garcia in third. Brody Kupski fourth. Mike Tellier now in the 5th position. Aubrey Powell, Ralph Mason, Destin Boland, Cody Majorek, and Eli Bright. That is your top 10 here for what hopefully is our first and only restart of the night. We ran the first 50-some-odd laps completely under the green, had the cycle of green flag pit stops. Granted, not without incident, but now pit road will no longer be a factor here this evening, provided they got those cars completely filled up with fuel. Some drivers mid-pack going to have a little bit of difficulty getting around the slower cars. Looks like Jordan Anderson holding up about a dozen drivers back there. Cam Wright Jr. as well off the pace. Those drivers may end up playing a factor here with the leaders before all is said and done, provided we stay under the green. As Brody Kupski with a show to the inside, and he will go to the top spot out of turn number 2. We saw his Adrenaline Motorsports teammate Dave Smith pick up his first career win a couple of weeks ago at Lucas Oil Raceway. How ironic would it be here tonight if the 2 full-time drivers out of that stable end up finding victory lane on a night that their team owner Jack Mitchell decides not to run the All-Star car. Kupski trying to make sure he covers both lanes, moves up to block Mike Tellier in the second groove, back down to the bottom to stop the advance of Aubrey Powell. Tellier with that run around the top there through 1 and 2, he'll clear for the second spot. Tellier coming to this race 21st in the point standings, a former Duracell Next Gen Cup Series winner. That was, of course, back in Season 5 at the finale at Homestead Miami Speedway, driving then for Gunther Motorsports. First full-time season here in the Lite Series for Bishop Family Racing. Trying to get to that left rear quarter panel of Kupski on the back straightaway and can't do it. Ooh, now gets there. Well, almost. Kupski gave him the space. I'm not sure Kupski's 100% certain if Tellier is alongside him or not. Now he definitely is. As Tellier's got his teammate right behind him, Destin Bolin, offering the drafting help. The 89 of Jordan Anderson, lap machine, really split the field up here. We've only got 15 cars in this lead group. About 8 drivers got held up and are about 5 seconds back as a result. So while up here in the booth, we'd love to see this thing run green to the end, there's about 8-9 drivers back there that want to see another caution to be able to catch back up. As Destin Bolin now goes to the point. Mentioned about the fact that we've had a number of Cup regulars make starts here this season in Lights races. Dylan Young, RJ Bishop, Reggie Fogelman, Nick Gunther, Anthony McCurry, Jack Mitchell, of course Carson Gunn making his debut here tonight, and Destin Bolin making his second start of the Light season. But we have yet to have a Cup regular go to victory lane here in a Light Series race. Could Destin Bolin potentially be the first? He is, I believe, the only Cup regular up here in this lead group. Let me double check on that. Yeah, that's not running for Lights points. He's the only one up here. Autumn Brooks is in this pack. That she runs full-time in the Cup Series, but in a non-charter capacity and does not run for Cup points. There's the 89 of Jordan Anderson. I thought that traffic was going to come into play in this one, and they're going to have to split in 3 wide going through 1 and 2. Craig Batson on the bottom, Aubrey Powell on the top side, and Batson's going to get the advantage here as he'll go to the front. Craig Batson, of course, we've documented him starting the season late. Made his first start at, I believe it was Pocono, race number 4. In his 5 previous starts, though, 3 finishes inside of the top 10 has been very, very good since starting here in the Light Series. And because of that, he is starting to close up points-wise on other drivers that have run all 8 previous races. He coming into this one is only 23 points behind Nathan Fogler for what would be 25th in points. So if Craig could go to victory lane... Oh! Juan Garcia gets spun around off the nose of Mike Tellier, and there's a caution! Cody Majorek involved. Ralph Mason gets the wall. Look out, oncoming pack. Majorek's in the grass. Hopefully everybody slows up here. Caution out after contact around the 6th position. Brings out the yellow. Juan Garcia got hooked in the right rear off the nose of Mike Tellier. And that's the caution that back half of the field wanted to see, as Aubrey Powell's going to lead us under this yellow. And we're going to get a restart now with less than 20 to go. Do you come to pit road for tires here? I know fuel is no longer a concern, but man, I mean, kind of feel like you'd want that fresh Goodyear rubber. Nobody at the front coming to pit road here, and pit road was open. Let's go back and take a look at the replay of what happened. A lot of damage for the 70 of Cody Majorek, who was the innocent bystander in all of this. Let's watch the 19 of Juan Garcia, who's in the middle, 3 wide off of turn 4, and ooh, I think he got pushed up the track by Jackson Haywood. Mike Tellier with absolutely nowhere to be able to go. Wasn't able to lift out of the throttle quickly enough with the 19 getting pushed up into his lane, and then you saw Cody Majorek, the big hit into the 19. Possible contact for both Skylar Taylor and Kyle Langland. Let's watch that again. Watch the 93 on the bottom push up right there. Majoric with a shot right there. Yeah, Skylar Taylor was involved. Ralph Mason got clipped in the right rear, may have brushed the safer barrier on the front stretch. It was hard to tell if there was any visible damage or not. And again, another of these incidents that occurred just before the start-finish line, so some drivers were racing back, other drivers, they were holding their position, which is why I was a little concerned with that secondary group coming up on the slower drivers from the first group, but looks like we didn't have a dreaded stack-up, and we are okay. So second caution of the night. Aubrey Powell was the leader, coming back to the start-finish line over Craig Batson, Destin Bolin, Jackson Haywood, and Autumn Brooks. Jackson Haywood has the fastest lap of the night so far, clocking in at 29.941, equating to about 180.715 miles per hour. And when we got the opportunity, let's give you a rundown of your current lap leaders, as despite the fact that he is out of the race with a mechanical problem earlier on in this one, Nathan Stapleton still has the most laps led tonight at 17. Next closest would be Cody Majoric, who was just involved in this most recent yellow. He has 13 circuits out in front. Aubrey Powell just led her 7th lap of the night. 6 laps out in front for Ralph Mason. 9 for Autumn Brooks. 4 laps led for Nathan Fogler. 2 laps led for Dustin Bolin and Brody Kupski. And then 1 lap led each for Craig Batson, Mike Tellier, Sean Galligan, and Carson Gum. So the list of drivers that have led is starting to actually outgrow the list of drivers who have not led here this evening. That being said, and looking ahead to our Cup Series race here tomorrow night, the Buc-ee's 500, track position may not necessarily be optimal. The ability to be able to work your way through the field up to the front definitely is there. As lights out on the pace car, and the one unfortunate thing is we still have the lap cars and we're restarting with more than 10 laps to go. So those lap machines will be back on the inside line. Cam Wright Jr. and Jordan Anderson. Cam's still only 1 down. Jordan Anderson we saw lose a lap there on that green flag run, so he is now -2. But both still soldiering on in 24th and 25th position respectively. And we saw Anderson hold up drivers towards the back half of the field on the previous restart. You got to think that's going to be something that might happen again here on this restart. We'll have to wait and see. Now, David Dixon out of the race. Cam Wright Jr. 1 lap down. Drivers that would be looking to close up on the point lead gap. Kyle Langland going to restart back in 11th. Roberto Crown Jr. is now up to 7th place, and Skylar Taylor is in 10th. So while all 3 of those drivers came into this race between 30 to 35 points out of the points lead, they can certainly cut that deficit in more than half if they can finish out the evening with a good run. But still a ways to go. Green flag back in the air here at Texas. Aubrey Powell gets us back underway. So far, we've had 8 races and 8 different drivers going to victory lane. Aubrey Powell looking to be the first repeat winner on the season after that victory in the desert at Phoenix. Cam Wright Jr. holding tough up here in the 95 car. Jordan Anderson, you see there, is held up. Bunch of drivers once again. It's like only maybe the top 9 got away this time of the lead lap cars. 10th place on back getting held up. And we know, based off the last run, that 89 is going to be encountered pretty soon if we continue under green flag laps. 95 may not be as off the pace as we originally thought. He's right now 2nd car in line, but able to stay up here with the race leaders. So for Cam Wright Jr., what he's trying to do is get ahead of the 71 catch a quick yellow and then be back on the tail end of the lead lap where he could then continue to start making forward progress once again. Have some frame issues there. I don't know what's going on there. Hopefully that settles itself out. And it looks like it's not settling itself out. I don't know what's going on. Alright, looks like we're good now. Destin Bolin, side by side with Roberto Crown Jr. You talk about drivers looking to be a repeat winner. Roberto Crown Jr. looking for back-to-back victories off the heels of the road course win at Sonoma last week. We're going 3 wide here out of 2. Autumn Brooks thought about shooting the gap between the 18 and the 16. Tucks in line behind Roberto Crown Jr. though. Roberto Crown Jr. now a 2-time winner in the Lite Series. Had a win last year at North Wilkesboro. And another driver who had a great run last week, his teammate out of Trackhouse Racing, Eli Bright, who moved up into the top 10 in points. He's right now holding down the 6th position, so back-to-back good weeks as well for the 20 car. Had that pole position last week. Had a slow pit stop that cost him track position, as he looked like the dominant car of the day, but still finished this day out with solid points. As Destin Bolin finally gets to the inside of Cam Wright Jr., he'll clear him on the front straightaway, and now looks to close up on Aubrey Powell for the top position. Looks like Cam Wright Jr. may have a car that can contend in the corners, but loses a couple of miles per hour on the straightaway. Destin with the run out of 2, crosses to the inside of Aubrey Powell going into 3. Looks to take the top spot, and he'll get it. Clears for the lead. Now, Jordan Anderson may not be the first driver that the leaders will encounter. Well, I gotta stop commentating or cursing these drivers. I mentioned about the fact of the great start to the year for Southern Cross Racing, and then Cam Wright Jr. and David Dixon get into wrecks. And then I talk about the great job that Joanna Atwood Motorsports is doing on the light side here. And you saw right there, both the 89 and the 70, both off the pace, damaged. Majoric in 23rd and Jordan Anderson in 25th. So I'm gonna stop complimenting these drivers on how good their start to the season has been, because apparently that is the commentator's curse here tonight at Texas. Destin Bolin, though, out in front in clean air. Looking not only for his first win in his career here in the Lite Series, but also looking for the first win for Bishop Family Racing in this series. RJ Bishop looked really strong back at Pocono. He also had a decent outing at Phoenix. We thought he could be in the conversation for the win in both those races, but failed to get that checkered flag. Destin Bolin might be able to get Bishop Family Racing their very first victory in Lite Series competition, but Eli Bright is on the charge. He's in the last couple of laps, worked his way from 5th, now up to 2nd. Slower cars. Oh, they're creating a wall as well. Where do you go? Destin Bolin now gets shuffled up to the 3rd lane as they're all boxed in. Eli Bright's going to go to the lead behind the faster, the slower cars, and Cam Wright Jr. gets spun in the grass. Back up the track he comes. Look out. Oh, this is not going to be good. This is not going to be good at all. Caution's out. And, oh, thank goodness. Wow, they were single filed out. They were strung out. So nobody clobbered the 95. That could have been really, really bad. Yellow flag waves, though, 3rd time here tonight. And this is going to set us up with a restart with less than 10 to go. Is Eli Bright going to bring us back to the start-finish line? Mike Tellier now into 2nd with Craig Batson, Jackson Haywood, and Roberto Crown Jr. Your top 5. Top 5 really got shuffled up with them having difficulty getting around both the Joanna Atwood Motorsports cars there. Let's go back and take a look at what happened. Man, I'll tell you what. Knowing that the field had gotten split up there at the beginning of that previous run, and seeing the 95 sitting 90 degrees the wrong way on the front straightaway, I thought we were going to end up having somebody completely wipe him out. Ralph Mason in the 66 trying to make a move here to the inside of the 95. They were 3 wide. And right there, I thought that second group was coming in. Then he bounces off the wall, and he's still facing the wrong way. And, man, Colin Grace, Carson Gum, able to get down low to avoid. The saving grace was the fact that they weren't double file anywhere back here in this group. They were all single files. They were all able to make their way through safely. We'll get one more look at this. Let's look from the chopper cam. Not sure if maybe the 18 kind of pins the 95 down there and he's not able to give a whole lot of room to the 66. Yeah, it almost looks like the 95 moves down a little bit there. And Ralph Mason's on the lead lap. Cam Wright Jr. is a lap down, so patience probably running thin for Ralph Mason, trying to get by. And you saw there some pretty good space Colin Grace had there to be able to get to the inside of the 95, who was able to get it turned around. And once he got it pointed in the right direction, then you feel even better because it's only one lane of traffic, one car length of traffic that's blockaded up rather than 2 or 3 when the car is sideways in the middle of the track. Well, even though we're going to fire somebody from our graphics department, let's show you what's coming up around the turn. Give you the correct version of what's coming up around the turn, presented by NNSCRA Paint Designs. Your first 2 slots are correct. Tomorrow night is the Buc-ee's 500 here for the Duracell Next Gen Cup Series drivers to cap off this weekend at the Texas Motor Speedway. That'll be at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then next week, it is only the Cup Series drivers. Lights drivers will be off next week, as it'll be the second Super Speedway stop of the season for the Next Gen Cup Series drivers at the Coke Zero Super Speedway. We'll have qualifying on Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then the main event race, the Coke Zero 400, on Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So just the last slot is the incorrect slot, and the logos on the side are incorrect as well as far as the Coke Zero events are concerned, but that's okay. It's coming out of somebody's paycheck. Well, if we get lights out on the pace car this next time by, we're going to have ourselves a 4-lap shootout to decide this thing. Lap cars will not come into play. With less than 10 to go, it is single file restart. The lap cars intermingle with the lead lap cars in a single file restart. Well, let's see where those lap cars are right now. There's Cam Wright Jr. There's Cody Majorek, and there's Jordan Anderson. So from 10th place on back, going to have to make quick work of those slower machines. Colin Grace, Carson Gum, Chris Dalwerton, pole sitter Sean Galligan, and more, if they're going to have a shot potentially at this win. Not necessarily certain with 4 laps how far up you really need to restart to be able to have a shot at this victory. We're going to have 9 drivers that will be ahead of the highest up lap machine. Eli Bright going to be getting us back underway. There's the lights out, so we will indeed have a 4-lap shootout. Mike Tellier lines up in 2nd, Craig Batson in 3rd, Jackson Haywood in 4th. Those 4 drivers still looking for their first win on the season. Roberto Crown Jr., the highest restarting previous winner. Of course, getting that win last week, he's 5th. Destin Bolin is the highest running Cup driver in the field. He's 6th. Ralph Mason, Aubrey Powell, Autumn Brooks, the rest of that top 9 just ahead of the lap car of Cody Majorek, and Colin Grace currently holds down the 10th position. Well, if Aubrey Powell does not lead any more laps here tonight, this is going to be one of the rare occasions where a driver that does not reach the conclusion of this race is going to get the bonus point for most laps led. Aubrey Powell has led 14 laps. That puts her 2nd highest. Oh, Mike Tellier just blew up from 2nd! Are you kidding me? Another Ford! That's another Mustang! So far tonight, we have had 2 Mustangs go behind the wall due to mechanical failures, and a 3rd one here coming to our final restart of the night. That is a tough blow for Mike Tellier, who was en route for potentially his 2nd top 5 on the season. Man, Ford's got to get something figured out with their engine department here. This has not been a good night for them mechanic-wise. Green flag's in the air. 4 laps to go here at Texas. And those slow cars creating some havoc back there. Craig Batson looking for the lead in the 91. Eli Bright trying to hold him off on the top side. Advantage off of 2 goes to Bright, but Batson will be back to the bottom here going into 3. These are the oldest tires these drivers have restarted on as well, so I'm not sure how good their grip is in this final run to the checkers. 3 to go. Colin Grace got clear of the traffic, as did Chris Dollerton. Do they have enough time to get up here to this lead pack? Eli Bright right down to the bottom of the racetrack. Teammates lined up second and third out of KB Racing Enterprises. Craig Batson, Jackson Haywood. Batson to the bottom. Can he pick up the throttle through the center of 3 and 4? Yes, he can. Craig Batson to the lead. 2 to go here at Texas. Now side by side between teammates for third, Roberto Crown Jr., Eli Bright. As teammates 1-2 through 1 and 2. Batson to the point. Haywood into second. Toyotas for third. Roberto Crown Jr., Aubrey Powell, Eli Bright. This time by will be the white flag, and it looks like it's going to be teammates to settle this thing out. Does Haywood have anything for Batson? Looking low on the D-shaped front straightaway. Batson will cover. Oh, he's going to get moved up the track. Cars on the apron back there too. Aubrey Powell and Destin Bolin fighting for everything inside the top 5. Roberto Crown Jr. going to clear into third. He'll cross to the inside of Jackson Haywood. That may be all she wrote. Craig Batson through 3 and 4. He's only made 5 starts this season, 3 less than everybody else. But he's going to get to victory lane sooner than most of the field. He's going to win the Whataburger 120 here at Texas Motor Speedway. Shades of Skylar Taylor from season 1. Craig Batson. 3 less starts this season than all the rest of the full-time drivers. In those 5 previous starts, 3 finishes inside of the top 10. And he's going to break into victory lane in only his 6th start of his career. And now the road towards climbing up in the point standings continues on for him, because now Craig Batson, for the remainder of this regular season, he'll be looking for this win to count towards a wild card spot. What an incredible job for him here tonight. A great restart and incredible job of playing defense there against his teammate to pick up the victory. Standing should be official. I believe everybody crossed the start-finish line. What a race here tonight. Personally, in terms of the Cup Series itself, I hate the reconfiguration of Texas Motor Speedway. I think they completely ruined that racetrack. But here tonight on the sim side, it gave us a really, really good race. And Craig Batson going to best Roberto Crown Jr., who was looking for back-to-back victories. Aubrey Powell going to bring it home in third. So Aubrey Powell will hang on still to one of those wild card spots. Jackson Haywood will stay up at the top 7 in points as he'll finish in 4th. Destin Bolin, back-to-back great runs for him in his light starts. So he'll get 5th. Autumn Brooks, good run in 6th. Eli Bright, back-to-back top 10s with 7th. Ralph Mason will finish in 8th with Colin Grace and Brody Kupski completing your top 10. Dollerton, Smith, Carson Gum in his lights debut, 13th. Reggie Fogelman, Cole Coybe, the rest of your top 15. Then Nathan Fogler, Sean Galligan, Wes McCoy, Skylar Taylor, and Kyle Langland dropped back late to 19th and 20th. And Juan Garcia was the last driver to finish on the lead lap. Why I kind of was surprised about Taylor and Langland is the fact that they had a shot here tonight to really close up the points gap on David Dixon and points leader Cam Wright Jr., with Jr. finishing 22nd, a lap down, and Dixon out of the race in 26th, but they're not going to gain a whole lot. Roberto Crown Jr. on the flip side is going to gain a ton of ground, though. He might be up as high as 2nd in points. And let's see, he gained 20 positions on Cam Wright Jr., and he was 32 points back, so he'll be somewhere around, 12, 13, maybe 11 points behind Cam Wright Jr.? No, 12 points behind Cam Wright Jr. Neither Roberto Crown Jr. or Cam Wright Jr. led a lap here tonight, so no bonus points headed in either of those directions. So it's going to be close between Cam Wright Jr. and Roberto Crown Jr., a junior show at the top of the point standings heading into next, 2 weeks from now, when I believe we're at Darlington, if I'm not mistaken. But we'll take a look at the rest of the finishing results here, and mechanical problems for the Fords was a big story here tonight. Mike Tellier blowing an engine, just coming to that final restart. David Dixon out of the race. It was crash damage and a mechanical failure for him. But then Cat Batson and Nathan Stapleton under one of those long green flag runs. Mechanical failures for them, both blue ovals, and Michael Turner. Another poor performance for that driver, as he'll finish last here this evening. He came into this race outside of a wildcard spot window, and he will leave even further outside of a wildcard window with the DNF this evening. Craig Batson, though, he now tries to enter himself into a wildcard conversation. We'll have to see if he ends up moving up in the point standings here in this one. As mentioned, he was 23 points behind his nearest competitor, which was Nathan Fogler. We'll see if he moves up anywhere in the point standings with this victory, or if he'll at least just get closer this week and have to try to continue the forward progress in the upcoming weeks. But still quite a bit of the regular season left to go. Granted, it's a little bit more expedited, a smaller schedule for the Lights drivers than the Cup drivers, but it's a step in the right direction for Craig Batson, his first career win. And remember, I said shades of Skylar Taylor. Remember, Skylar Taylor ran a very limited schedule last year as he got a very late start, and he went to victory lane twice. We kind of talked about what might have been it had he run the full Cups or the full Light schedule. Kind of the same thing. Deja vu here with Craig Batson with a very early checkered flag in his young career. But well done to him on taking the checkered flag. What a great race overall. I am very excited for tomorrow night's Cup Series race with what we saw in the Lights race here this evening. Cannot wait to see what the fallout will be from that one. But hope you guys enjoyed tonight's race here from Texas. If you did, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe, become part of the crew today. We showed you your full feature results. You're now looking at the point standings heading into the next race here for these Duracell Ultra Light Series drivers. I can actually really quickly let you know where that event is taking place. And it looks like it is going to be at, with the off week, next week, it is actually at I-69 Speedway in 2 weeks' time. Darlington the following week. So another short track that these Lights drivers will have to deal with in a couple of weeks' time. But they'll get to take a little bit of a respite, as it will be just the Cup drivers next week for their weekend at Coke Zero Super Speedway. And of course, tomorrow evening, we've got the Cup drivers here to cap off an exciting race weekend that has been already at the Texas Motor Speedway. But until next time, in 2 weeks' time here for the Light Series drivers, I've been Seth Cole, and you've been watching another broadcast courtesy of NNSCRA TV, offline racing at its best.
The following has been a presentation of NNSCRA TV for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this telecast or any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the consent of the NNSCRA is prohibited. NNSCRA would like to thank all of our loyal fans, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.